everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Healthy Home Show podcast. And this week I've got something a little bit different for you. I am speaking to Lars Tewes from Clean Living, and we met very briefly recently at the Clean and Tidy Show. Another Clean and Tidy Show person, because I actually interviewed a home organizer last week, basically, which was super interesting, and how that was beneficial for our mental health. But today I'm speaking to Lars, and Lars works for a company called Clean Living, which do the most amazing cleaning detergents. Do we call them detergents? I'll let you answer that question, Lars. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Charlie, thank you so much for inviting me. And again, it was great to meet you at the Clean and Tidy Show a few weeks ago. It feels, actually, it's more than a month ago, so time absolutely flies, doesn't it? So
it does.
Really excited to be on here and hopefully share a few reasons why Clean Living exists, I suppose.
Yeah, so tell me, what do you call your products? Are they cleaning detergents? Because obviously the word detergent sort of almost has a bit of a kind of negative slant in my view. I always think that detergent feels like you're kind of stripping something of its goodness, or that you're kind of like taking away too much from the cleanliness. And I know you guys are kind of, your idea is basically around, would you call them prebiotic cleaners?
I mean, we would use the word just cleaning products. Again, we're sort of into the keep it simple. So we have a really lovely eco range of cleaning products that can be used in all different parts of the home. The vast majority of them are what we would say biological cleaning products, or people would probably know as probiotic.
So what got you into working with the company in the first place? Because I think you're not one of the founders, are you? But you were so kind of like bowled over by the idea that you were like, I'm joining.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, just briefly, a little bit of history. So the founders, why did they actually set up Clean Living? And there's one of the founders in particular who, like myself, wasn't from a cleaning product background, but he went along to one of these manufacturing sites where they were sort of had all these domestic cleaning bottles, and it was, again, he always talks about how he was shocked that he just saw, bottle after plastic bottle after plastic bottle after plastic bottle being filled with what he then asked was pretty much 97% was water and 3% was the actual concentrate. And then obviously they're shipped around, from the factory to the warehouse to somewhere else to the superstore to the home. So before I joined, the founders really decided back in, it was probably 2018, to set up a cleaning business that had products that were, I guess, reducing plastic waste, reducing CO2 emissions, and also reducing all the pollution in our waterway.
Yeah, amazing. Because also, I guess in recent times also we've become much more aware around the importance of our microbiome, and we've been looking at kind of like how bacteria isn't necessarily a bad thing, and in fact we need good bacteria in our guts where most of our immune system is. So it's really interesting to me to see how this idea of good bacteria is kind of moving outside of not only just our guts, but we're talking now a lot about the oral microbiome and now about the home microbiome, essentially. So how did you kind of put the connection together, basically, that probiotics would be really useful within the environment or within the cleaning of your home?
Well, again, when you say you are, I'm just a messenger on all of this, so I definitely am just talking. Definitely wasn't my idea.
You can take some claim for it. It's fine. We'll let you.
The reason I'm involved is exactly like yourself. I'm just so sort of fascinated by the whole concept of using sort of good bacteria within our homes. I guess I mentioned one of the founders. Then the other founders actually come from a sort of a bioscientist background, and they have been using biological good bacteria as a cleaning product for many years in the commercial world. But it seems to have completely gone over the head of the domestic space. And I think the thing that really got me to be involved with Clean Living, and I don't know, maybe your listeners can understand this, the way it was described to me is, if you were to go into the natural world, like the woods behind, we have lovely woods behind our house, if you wanted to clean it, would you take bleach and throw it over the trees and hope that kills the mold? And they said, of course you wouldn't, because since the beginning of time, the way the natural world has cleaned itself is good bacteria fights with bad bacteria and hopefully wins and kills the bad bacteria. And then what's really interesting in the more recent times, the last 5-10 years, people have suddenly now been buying probiotics for their gut. And most people now accept that you do need to have good bacteria in your stomach, in your gut. And I think a lot of people talk about antibiotics, are actually a lot of the reason many people have survived, but also a lot of people have got challenges within their gut. So the way I see it, in the simple way, is the natural world uses healthy bacteria to kill the bad bacteria. We're now using healthy bacteria in our guts, but we all live inside this home and we shut our windows in the winter, and then what we do is we then use bleaches and toxic products to clean our homes. And the line that Clean Living has kind of coined is a clean home doesn't mean it's a healthy home. And I think that's really the message that we want to get across. Your house may be clean or look clean, but actually one of the reasons people are getting so many allergies and reactions and so many problems is the surfaces are covered in actually toxic products. So what we want to do is really have people have a clean home and a healthy home. And the way you do that is by using, I guess, healthy bacteria. We call it biological products. And I can tell you a little bit more about how that works if you want. So.
Yeah, please do. So is the process, because I was looking at it on your website, called competitive exclusion. Is that the process of where you add good bacteria into an environment where there's good and bacteria, and the aim is then for the good bacteria to overtake the bad bacteria and therefore provide a clean environment? Or have I just got that completely wrong?
It almost sounds like a movie, doesn't it? Like a Hollywood movie, isn't it? The good versus bad. But it pretty much is. I mean, the way I understand it, again, keeping it really simple, is it's a bit like you have the good versus the bad microorganisms, and a microorganism is basically something that's alive that's so small that you can't see. So what we've got is around our homes and everywhere. In fact, you've got the good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. And basically what they're doing is they're battling for energy, food, and they need food to survive. And so what we do is we actually include billions of good bacteria in our cleaning products, which is the probiotic side. And when you spray them on a surface, or you spritz, people like to use that word, they sort of colonize the surface. And basically they're waiting for sort of the food or dirt to arrive, and then when that arrives, they sort of wake up with the enzymes and they eat them, and ultimately the sheer number of good bacteria kind of outweighs the bad bacteria, and I guess put very simply, it doesn't leave any food or energy left for the bad bacteria to live, so it dies. I mean, that is. I would imagine a biochemist listening to this would probably be really upset the way I've explained it, but I think that's fairly accurate.
It sounds good to me. Bacteria
obviously, they're fighting for the same energy, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But bacteria is like a word that I think is thought of traditionally quite negatively. Have you found much resistance from customers, or kind of much pushback from people who kind of associate the word bacteria with not being clean, or with illness, or with dirt? Because I think, as we mentioned before we went on the call, basically after or during COVID, there was an obsession with antibacterial hand gel, all this kind of like almost over cleaning, this kind of battle against bacteria, basically, as we assume, or we've been led to believe in the past, that it's bad for your health, basically, but essentially it's completely the opposite. So have you seen much resistance, or what have your challenges been to try and convince people that bacteria is actually a good thing?
So you're absolutely right, and again, one of the reasons why we want to try and spread the word is it is a real challenge, because most people, when they hear the word bacteria, it's exactly as you've said, oh, it's horrible. And the big corporations, I sound awful when I say that, but I mean that. But when they have, since I was a child, I've seen on television advertising, kills 99% of germs dead, and therefore it must be good. So we literally have been told since the beginning of my generation that bad bacteria is bad. The crazy thing is that the vast majority of bacteria, I think over 95% of bacteria, is actually good bacteria. So you're right, it has been a challenge. We would say that something that's been brilliant in the last few years is that people are now becoming more familiar, I guess, with good bacteria in our guts. So in a way, the door has been opened because of that. So whenever we talk to people, or people say, "Oh, I'm really interested in your products. I'd love to try them, but I don't fully understand." We just say, "Well, are you familiar with probiotics for the gut?" And they say, "Oh, absolutely. I take one every morning." One of the reasons why we need to eat fruit. Fruits is actually a lot of this, this bacteria inside protects us. So that's helped make it a lot easier. But I think people still do find it quite hard. But what we say to people is just give it a go. We have had so many reviews and customers over the last couple of years who have had allergies or have had challenges with some of the other products. Some of the real proof in the pudding is we have a lot of cleaners that use our products, and I know they say they're using their cleaning products all day long, and at the end of the day they're almost feeling dizzy, and when they have used ours and other similar products, they actually feel okay. So I think what we're trying to do is, when people are now familiar with creating a good healthy gut microbiome, what we're saying is if you're into that, which is good, then why don't you maybe create a healthy home microbiome? So really start using products in your home, and just even if it's one by one. So
Yeah, I love the idea of the home microbiome. It's something that I'm exploring quite a lot at the moment, actually. I was going to ask you, I talk a lot about how kind of fragrance and VOCs that we find in cleaning products basically are one of the most toxic things in our home, particularly for children who basically don't have a fully developed immune system when they're quite young, and also they're crawling around on the floor the entire time, and pets whose kind of paws are exposed to the floor the entire time, and so they're seeping up all the bleach and the horrible kind of toxic stuff that people put on the floor basically through that. How have you got around, people are a bit fragrance obsessed, so how have you got around the need to kind of add fragrance to everything?
Fragrance, again, cleaning products. I think, again, not coming from a cleaning background, when I did get very much involved back in 2019, really, so the last 4 or 5 years with Clean Living, I had no idea how fragrant obsessed people were with cleaning products. And there are a lot of products out there that almost live and breathe by their fragrance, I suppose. That's not really our focus. And again, the way I like to explain it to people is, by the way, our products do smell good, right? We don't, and we do, and we can talk a bit about that. But one of the reasons people use fragrance, I guess, is to cover up smells, isn't it, or odors. And the reason probiotic or biological products like ours work is odor is actually caused by, I guess, particular molecules floating around the air. So, around us, if there's a smell, it's these molecules floating around. And what a probiotic cleaner does, again, keeping it in my language, is it literally wraps themselves around sort of those molecules and sort of neutralizes them. Again, going back to that sort of that good versus bad. Whereas what a fragrance does is you spray it on there, and it kind of almost tries to cover up the smell, which is why after a while, when this fragrance goes away, the smell comes back. And again, I don't know which products you've tried of ours, but the one that has literally like magic when I first joined was our bin odor eliminator. It's absolutely, you almost think there's something magic going on, because with our bins, when you have like the fish or something in there and it's a bit pongy, if you spray that with our biological bin odor eliminator or a probiotic, the smell literally goes. And you think, you go, where's it gone? And I see people talking about, it is, if you haven't tried ours or if there are others, and the whole reason it does is because the good bacteria kind of wraps itself around the bad ones and it goes. I actually use one of our products, the spot and odor remover for my shoes. Again, as I know a lot of people that go to the gym or their kids, their stinky shoes. I think most of us admit that we do. As soon as I come back, I literally spray with the biological product, and the smell goes. And it's not magic. This is what we want people to try and understand. It isn't actually magic. It is science, and it's natural. and it's the way, literally, it's the way the woods and the forests and keep alive. And so we're not actually doing anything strange. We're just bringing what is natural into our homes and really trying to encourage that.
Absolutely. It sounds like an extension of biophilic design in a way almost. It's like bringing in nature's natural processes basically to be able to benefit from them within the home, and nature's natural cleaning. By the way, bin odor eliminator does sound like a good character for a film. I think you should definitely keep that in mind.
I probably shouldn't say this. It's probably going to be, but one of the founders, he has really wanted us to kind of give each of our products a sort of a character around that. So you and he would probably get on pretty well with your. We've had quite a few funny jokes around what each of them could be called and how they work, because our products are pet safe as well, and they're also aqua safe, and the reason they are is because they're natural in terms of the natural probiotics. So we've kind of come up with all these caricatures around how you can kind of have these little the dogs and the moles, or all like excited about
great.
The homeowner is now using products.
I can't wait for that launching on our screens sometime soon. I'm glad you mentioned AquaSave actually, because that was going to be one of my questions to you. Obviously, I'm a real environmentalist, and I love the fact that pretty much most of the things that we do within our home that are healthy for us should therefore be healthy for the planet, because it should go hand in hand. So yeah, and a lot of the reasons I don't like your more traditional, in inverted commas, cleaning agents, cleaning detergents, cleaning toxic things, whatever you want to call them, is because obviously when we flush them away in our water supply, it affects our marine life really badly. And so I wanted to know, I know that yours are very gentle for marine life. They do not affect marine life in the same way as other products might do. I mean, I'm assuming that's just a continuation around the natural use of bacteria and the way that would be absorbed within the natural environment anyway. But did you have to do any more research around that particularly?
No, I mean, it's a continuation of everything we've been talking about. And again, it's basically live bacteria just replicates what's going on in nature. And, where there are trillions of bacteria that are going to work day and night. And so I guess the secret, it's not a secret, but the secret here is that we're not introducing anything unnatural into the cleaning. It almost sounds a bit too obvious, really, doesn't it? So, and again, one of the products which our team of creators is actually a biological drain maintainer. And I absolutely love that one, because if people have septic tanks, and again, what people do is they think, I'm going to clean my drains, and so they pour bleach down it to clean the drain, and it's like the worst thing you can possibly do. And so a biological drain maintainer, again, whether it's ours or anybody else's, is when you put it down there, you literally just at night, you can use it in your dishwasher, your washing machine, your drains outside, you put it in there, leave it overnight. And I'm sounding a bit boring here, but literally the good bacteria kind of eats the bad ones, and the smell tends to go. And I guess the answer to your question there is we're not doing anything that isn't already there kind of in the first place. Okay,
so then how come you need, or not necessarily need, but how come you've created a different product for different areas of the house? Why is that necessary?
So that's a really good question. We get asked that a lot, because we're seeing a lot of companies who are creating like a sort of an all-in-one multi-purpose, you can use it everywhere. We do have a biological multi-purpose, which you can use in general places. But again, if you were to talk to the founders of the business, which I think they've just done such a great job, it's really important. So if you think about in a kitchen, you've got grease and grease, you need a degreaser. If you think about sort of more gym equipment or dirt, and then if you also think in your bathroom, you've got, dare I say, sort of the proteins in urine around the toilet area. Each of those, if you think about it, require different cleaning products. And so each of our products, we've got a kitchen degreaser, we've got a bathroom, we've got each of those, and they've just got different strains of bacteria and also different types of surfactants within it. So the same concept, but the people that know how to do this in our team, the bioscientists, they will vary the types and the amount to fit I've mentioned 3 different environments. Does that make sense?
Yeah, interesting. So there's like a different specified bacteria that combats different areas, essentially, I suppose.
Again, you think there's trillions of strains of bacteria, and some are going to be much better at eating grease, and some are going to be much better at eating maybe a smell, and some are going to be much better at eating, the sort of the protein type. And again, anything beyond that, my chemistry disappears a bit. But
I guess
it makes total sense to me.
Yeah, well, it makes sense to me in the sense that I personally would take different probiotics for my own gut, depending on maybe what my issue was, and also I quite like to cycle through it, because obviously if you're just sticking to the same bacteria the entire time, your gut or your immune system gets used to it. So it's kind of interesting to then cycle through that, because the environment changes, obviously. I was going to ask you, yeah, where do you see the future in probiotics then, in probiotic cleaners?
Gosh. It's one of the reasons why we're here, because as you did mention earlier, it is a challenge right now. We, even though in theory what we're suggesting and we're providing, it seems so obvious, it still is a bit of a challenge for some people. We do believe, though, that the future of cleaning is going to be these biological probiotic products that we have, and they will dominate the supermarkets. Right now, people often say, well, why are the big companies not doing this? When you walk down the aisles in the supermarkets, it's an aisle of big plastic, bright coloured bottles full of, constant liquids. And I don't mean to sound too cynical, but, there's a lot of margin to be made in that. And also most people still aren't demanding. And ultimately it's about supply and demand. We believe once society and once people suddenly go, do you know what, I want probiotic cleaning products, and the more people start demanding it, we will start seeing it in the supermarket. So though I do like to say this, in the next 3 to 5 years, we're convinced that you will actually be seeing probiotic biological cleaning products the whole way down that aisle. And it'll actually almost, the things that they've used previously will probably seem archaic. They won't even exist anymore. Yeah. We just hope people are introduced to it with clean living first of all, and give us a chance to grow as much as we possibly can in this way. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a brilliant product and it's such a brilliant concept. And what I find is so super interesting at the moment, off the back of some research that you sent to me about, I think there were some trials done in hospitals, particularly because hospitals are places that you think, okay, they need to get the cleaning right in hospitals, basically. Because obviously, there's so many operations and so much ill health happening in the hospitals. But as we all know, from MRSA, etc., it's those kind of viruses have been caused by an overclean, essentially. So is there anything that you know about that kind of research that can help us change our behavior a little bit, or our kind of attitude towards overcleaning?
So again, really interesting, and a lot more research is coming out. And as we speak, there's more and more coming out, and the research you're referring to in hospitals is absolutely spot on. Basically, what's happening, and again, if people overclean with toxic bleach products, if you can picture it, you're literally wiping out all the good, healthy bacteria. So if you overclean, and this is why they discovered in hospitals where they're overcleaning, actually they're creating an environment that is ripe for germs and diseases to appear. So I mean, maybe there could be an argument that we do less cleaning. I saw something the other day, it fascinated me again. I don't know if this is the right for the show, but I'm sure it does make sense. They were saying there are certain tribes in the world where when a mother is pregnant, they actually eat dirt. I don't know if you've seen that. It was fascinating. They actually eat dirt at the time, And obviously we don't think about doing that. And they said the reason they do is because it's actually encouraging, the little baby inside to build their immune system. And when we were kids, I definitely remember playing in sand pits, and we just would eat anything and everything on the floor. And what's happening now is we're almost stopping our kids from doing that. And so we're not building up this immune system. So I'm not sure if that's fully answering your question, but I think it was, what can we do more of? And I almost wonder if maybe we do sometimes less of that cleaning and if you use probiotic cleaning products, what's interesting, the more you use those, they colonize and they actually create an immunity. We've become a bit obsessed with cleaning, haven't we? But I think people just must be aware that over-cleaning is not necessarily healthy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And there's so much research that's been done recently around exactly what you just said, around kids with allergies and eczema and things like that, and how potentially that's because we are not allowing our children basically to play around in the dirt as much as we used to, and get the benefit from all the kind of bacteria and organisms within the dirt, which then, as you said, supports our immune system. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of a change in our lifestyles whereby we're not outside as much as we used to be. Like children are inside in environments where we're on technology far too much, and so we're not out in nature as much, so we don't get that natural support to our immune system. And we're probably over cleaning as well. I mean, obviously not helped by COVID, where I think everyone got slightly obsessed with over cleaning, not realizing actually that was kind of detrimental to our health. It's interesting, the word cleaning is just such an interesting word. I think that's probably going to have to change, because cleaning has like a kind of positive element to the word itself, but I think the way that we've been overdoing it is just not positive at all. So maybe we're going to have to think of a completely new name for what we do in our homes to, create the perfect home indoor microbiome, essentially.
You've done this perfectly. You started it off, didn't you, talking about, do we use the word detergents and not products? And now we're doing, do we even use the word clean? That's taken us to a whole different level of thinking. But I think if people, and hopefully people are finding some value from this podcast, and if there's one question that I just think would be worthwhile people thinking about is, we've all known that it's important for our immune systems to be close to that bacteria, from just playing outside. And we've all known about that in some shape or form through our gut. Yet, why is it then? So the question is, why is it in our homes we've sort of been convinced to nuke them with bleach and toxic products? Question mark, almost exclamation mark. If people just think more about that, I think that will really help change habits a little by little. I mean, we had one customer I was talking to at the Clean and Tidy show where she's like, I've got my dog, and I've always used bleach to clean the floors, and then I suddenly realised all day long I'm wondering why the dog is getting, I think the skin issues. Well, not surprisingly. So, if nothing else, if we stop using some of those products as much, it doesn't mean we don't have a clean home. Let's just get a clean, but actually a healthy home. I think a healthy home is more important necessarily than almost a clean home, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I mentioned semiotics because I think semiotics can be really important. And as you say, I think people have just traditionally thought of our homes as a separate part from us. And I'm always trying to encourage people to think of like our bodies as an extension, or our homes as an extension of our bodies, and vice versa, because I'm kind of all about how our own health is affected within our built environment, and also the environment at large, and how that's all kind of interconnected. So sometimes it is down to changing semiotics a little bit, just to change attitude. But it is really interesting how the word clean has been always positive for so long, but actually it's kind of starting to prove to be a bit negative, not only to our own bodies but also to the environment. And on that note, my last question to you is going to be around sustainability, actually, because obviously one of the most difficult tasks for you guys, I imagine, is how you deliver your product, because glass is expensive. Glass would probably be better. but glass is expensive and it's also difficult to ship. So have you looked at all at any different kind of packaging options, or I don't know, like these zero waste places that you can go in and you can fill up your cleaning products from there? Can you see in the pipeline anything a bit more sustainable or alternative to the packaging front?
Yeah, so again, and the quick answer is that is evolving constantly, isn't it? And we're in a brilliant world right now where there are new. But the first thing that we did was we do not use any single-use plastic bottles. So the first step was all of our products come in an aluminium bottle, which is long life and recyclable. So the other nice thing is when we ship the products to people, the aluminium bottles are empty, so it's really light, so CO2 emissions. And then obviously they have a sachet that's got a 30 ml concentrate in it. So the main sustainability ways, again, I think one of the founders shared with me when I was looking into it, in the UK alone, we use something like 1.4 billion plastic single-use bottles for cleaning products a year. And I don't know what the number is, but they say 70-80% of them end up on landfill sites. So the first point of sustainability is let's just stop buying plastic bottles with cleaning products. So we have our aluminium bottles. We did look at glass, and I think that's a really good point. We did look at glass bottles, but the feedback was, why would you ever use a glass bottle cleaning in your bathroom? I mean, with cleaning products, the danger, if it smashes. So we, even though glass is good, we just think we're not going to use that for cleaning products, because if that slips out your hand, that could be pretty dangerous. So our solution at the moment is very much these long life aluminium bottles. It's not to say that we're not looking at some incredible recycling things that are coming through. So that's kind of our main focus. And then the other thing, that just to finish off on the sustainability side, it's kind of a quirky, but we are a fun company and we like ideas. Most people have got that plastic bucket full of plastic bottles under the sink. And one of our visions is that every one of our clients and customers, they get rid of the plastic bucket with plastic bottles, and they replace it. We've got this wonderful little eco-friendly caddy. It's actually made of hardboard and it fits the aluminium bottles. I think I could show it to you, but I think we've probably also got people listening in, so they wouldn't see it. But if they're interested, you can always go onto our website. But yeah, it is very much about the sustainability side.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And you're right, I've done some research into the recycling front myself and was alarmed to find out that I think in the UK, we recycle about 9% or something hideous of what we actually say that we're recycling. So yeah, I really hope that people get away from this idea that, oh, plastic's okay because I'm going to recycle it. No, that's just an excuse to produce more plastic, basically. And it's just, I kind of look a lot into microplastics that is entering into our bodies and into our systems, and the havoc that's causing on our endocrine systems, and just making everyone really ill. So yes, thank you for not using plastic.
Can I just add one other thing, which again, I think if people are listening to this, hopefully they can relate to it. So when I go back to 2019, when I heard about clean living and I started being introduced to these products, what was brilliant, and my wife even spotted this, was I suddenly started looking at everything else we have in our home, and I think for all of us, whether we get introduced to eco products, whether it's toothpaste, it's our sort of soap, it's our cosmetics, it's our cleaning product, I think it doesn't really matter which it is, but once one of them hooks you and you start thinking about it, it actually starts you looking at everything else you use in your home. And I just think that's a really important point to mention, because just open one of the doors, just whether it's through the cosmetics that are used or the soaps you're using or the cleaning products. And as you do that, one by one, you start looking at all the other products that we're using around our home. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's also important not to get overwhelmed, because suddenly you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, everything's poisoning us. But there are great companies like yourselves that are out there doing some really innovative things with our products that we need in our homes the entire time. And and also just kind of like reducing the need. I mean, we don't need the same amount that is pushed on us in our commercial kind of like capitalist world the entire time. So I personally just love it when I know I can work with brands like yourselves, and they have a much more ethical approach, much healthier approach. And then I don't have to be someone in the supermarket like confronted with 50 million different types of toilet cleaners when I'm doing my shop. So yeah, as you say, I think it is good because it's a slight paradigm shift. Once you start looking at things like your cleaning products and understanding how much healthier they can be with the products that you're providing. God, it's like we've got tongue twisters going on today. I can't actually get my P's out of my mouth. But anyway, so I'm going to let you go because I know that I've taken up quite a lot of your time already. If people are interested in trying out clean living, I'm obviously going to put like a link to your products in the show notes and your website, etc. But where can they follow you as a company? Where's the best place to see updates from and see what you're up to?
So, on our website, cleanlivinginc.com we have blogs on there. If people are more interested, we've got some wonderful blogs on there that give people a bit more information, education around the probiotic cleaning. Equally on our Instagram, I guess our handle is cleanlivingint, so they can follow us there. But I did just want to do a plug for you as well, because as when you kindly invited me to be on this, I was in the car for about 7 hours on 3.5 hours each way the other day, and I listened to all the podcasts that you've done up till this point. And do you know, again, I'm loving it, and I'm very grateful that you've invited us to be part of that. And if anyone is listening to this, please listen to the others, because they're fascinating, and we're all one. It's all about the healthy home. So thank you.
Oh man, that's so sweet of you. Someone's listened to my podcast. That's really kind.
I liked it.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. But you're right, though. I think it's important to all work together on this big message of, creating healthier homes and healthier environments and a healthier planet and society, because it's we need to do it, and it's getting quite urgent now. So we all need to work together on this message and on this healthier campaign. So yeah, thank you for listening, and really thank you so much for your time today. It was really fascinating and great to speak to you.
Thank you, Charlie. Much appreciated.